So, what if we were today to talk about lessons that we've kind of learned or have noticed in tennis that we think would be beneficial for projects or just everyday life moving forward, reaching out and going for your goals? What would you think of that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
Welcome back to In Residence. I'm Keith.
And I'm Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, Keith.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing swell. What do you want to talk about?
What do I want to talk about? I wanted to talk a little bit about tennis today.
Okay.
That sounds good. Oh, you smiled. You kind of got like a little shimmy.
I like tennis, apparently.
Yeah, you do.
I've been watching it for like 2 weeks on replay, the French Open or whatever.
The French Open?
Yeah.
So I grew up playing tennis. You didn't necessarily, right?
Correct. I don't know if I've ever touched a tennis racket until,
Really?
I mean, maybe unintentionally. Like, oh, what's this funny looking thing?
Okay.
But I don't remember ever swinging it at a tennis ball on a court, nowhere.
Like, what did you swing it at?
It just might have been like a sword in my hand or something, like as like a real little kid or something.
Okay.
That's like there was like no context for me to find this like foreign object. It was just, oh, what's this? Like, oh, that's a tennis racket. I'm like, oh, okay, and then nobody like played with me or anything.
Okay. I had a moment where when you said, you hadn't swung it at a ball, and I thought people often use a tennis racket to swing at if a bat's in the house. And I was wondering if you had to deal with a bat in your past that
No,
I was unaware.
because I don't even think a tennis racket was ever in my house. Not that I can think of.
Yeah.
Until I met you. So you're thinking about
I'm
tennis
thinking about
because
tennis.
because I'm making you watch it or what?
Well, I think there's a couple things. I was thinking about tennis, and it's the French Open, and just how competitive it is.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that, I'll say that because obviously, if you are in the quarterfinals, semifinals, or final at the tennis, the French Open,
Mm-hmm.
you're probably pretty good and pretty competitive.
Yep.
But there is this part of, we've been watching some of the games, and one of the players will be down 2 sets.
Yeah.
And they'll start clawing back in a way where I'm like, they could actually win this thing. And the piece that intrigues me, and I thought that maybe we could talk about, is so often in tennis, you win because you're kind of on offense, or you lose, but it's almost like you beat yourself from unforced errors or getting in your own head.
Yeah. Hence the inner game of tennis.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How it doesn't just apply to tennis.
Exactly.
Most things. Anyway. Okay.
And I was thinking about that last night. So I definitely I fell asleep. I had a nap, like a 3-hour nap.
Yeah, you did.
And then I woke up to watch one set of tennis. And then I fell back asleep. And this morning I'm like, who won? You're like, do you really want to know? I'm like, I do. I do. So you told me, and it surprised me. And I remember one of the first things I said to you was, oh, did the one player, was she in her head? Because when she was getting frustrated and yelling at herself and her coach and just like kind of stomping around, it did feel very much like it wasn't even necessarily the other player was just getting lucky, or, I mean, she was playing really well because she's a good player.
No, she was playing well. This player that you're talking about was in her feelings and very expressive about them.
Yes.
And you couldn't hide it. Like there was anybody could see it. I could probably hear it if I was only listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting spectacle to see the different demeanor of each athlete and how they carried themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I commented on that. Not so much in that way of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how emotional that player is, but I'm like, oh wow, they're really feeling and expressive, and they can talk to their coach apparently. Like you can't do that when child one plays. Like you can only talk to your coach in between points, not during the game.
Yeah.
Or not in between.
Or in between games.
Between games, if the coach comes out to you, you can't like turn to them in the middle of the game between points and say, what do I need to do better? But they were doing that. I'm like, oh, that's different. So it just kind of blew me away. But there's definitely a difference in the composure, I guess, between the two players. And the player that was more expressive almost won.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's that more expressiveness, I'm trying to say it in a nice way, it's a little off-putting to me. Okay. And I'm sure part of it is actually to get into the opponent's head. Just like how some players are very guttural with the way they hit the ball and like very loud with like the grunts and stuff.
Yeah.
I think both you and I kind of like bristle at that. Like, oh, just like keep it inside, or like you don't need to do that. But it's
is that our upbringing a little bit?
Yeah, it's our quiet, just upper Midwestern upbringing.
Just repress that and put it in the feeling box and don't.
But actually, it's probably a very effective way to get the power out. I get that.
Yeah,
like
channel it.
If I have to lift something heavy, I'll grunt. So I get it.
Yeah.
I make dad sounds if I'm getting out of bed sometimes.
Yeah, you do.
So
true.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be super judgmental about it, but I'm noticing the difference, and it's fun to see how it plays out, I guess.
Yeah.
One thing that I kind of smiled at, each player comes out. I was watching mostly singles. I don't know if I saw any of the doubles actually. Mm-hmm. There's just too much. There's too many. There's too many matches. When they get into the quarterfinals and semifinals, I'm not sure when, but they'll announce the players, right? And like the little kid will grab their hand and like they kind of get escorted by like a 5 or 7 year old, right?
It's really cute.
It's really cute, and so like a little bit of the pomp and circumstance of it, right? But then the opponents warm up together across the net.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's because hockey, you stayed on your side of the ice. And if you got in somebody's way at center ice, like there could be some chirping and some like not nice things being said, or, getting in each other's head. But I was like, oh, like it's got to be really interesting to be, going into battle with these people, but helping them prepare.
Right.
Practicing the ground strokes, practicing the volleys, practicing your serves, kind of thing. And I was like, that's really an interesting aspect of this sport and the sportsmanship that comes with it, because whether or not somebody's getting cranky during the game and yelling at their coach on the sideline, and you can just see it on their face that they're frustrated and getting in their own head, like you said.
Yeah.
There's still this sportsmanship that comes with it. And even seeing a player call a ball in that was called out by the line judge, and like just being upfront and honest about it. It's just really nice to see that, and I appreciate that it's I don't know, there's just this honesty and sportsmanship that's like an undercurrent in this sport, that not that it's missing in others, but there's a difference between watching these tennis matches, and the hockey playoffs are going on right now too.
Right.
And seeing the hockey players try to annihilate each other is different. And they shake hands at the end of the series too.
Sure.
But it's still different. And you can see like it just doesn't sit quite right. So there's that sportsmanship that I think is just something that I like to bring to the things that I do, and kind of giving the other person the benefit of the doubt. And even if the call's not going my way, acknowledging like, oh no, that was in, and like the honesty behind it, I think is standing out to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if this is too far, but honesty and integrity.
Yeah. That's probably the word I'm trying to.
So it's kind of that your character.
Yeah.
Like you're acting in ways that align with your values and.
Yeah. And for the most part, seeing somebody get rattled, but then pulling themselves back and stepping up and coming back and scoring some points. Like, I don't know if you can do that if you don't have that mindset, and that integrity, I think, comes with it. And that takes work, but that's the people that we're watching on the stage that they're on. they tend to have that, and that's why they're at the level they are. Because they've gone probably through some hard times and had to learn the tough lessons of, well, if I don't do the work to be able to bounce back and be persistent when I'm down 2 sets, and hopefully just fight for a tiebreak so I can keep going. Like, seeing that all play out in this game is a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, that was the lesson that I was thinking about is the every point is a new point, and the players that are the most successful are the ones that treat it as such. And so even if somebody is down a whole set or 2 sets, if you're able to go out there and be like, okay, this point, let's go.
Yeah, just getting the next one.
Yep.
So I'm going to just jump in with like another thing that stands out to me with learning about tennis that I think is really helpful for me in life and in like my endeavors. There are so many points and you're not expected to win them all.
Yeah.
I dive into like my nerdiness of researching and finding books and podcasts and all these things to teach me about the games. Because one, I want to play, but I also want to understand while I'm watching. And one of the things that stood out to me the most was that the most successful players only win 51 to 55% of the points. And that's not a huge margin, right?
No.
There's only a few points in a whole match that they won that made them be the winner at the end. And I heard it again while I was watching this tournament. So the thing that sticks out is if you're going to play the game, you're not going to win every point. And so like I take that as that one saying that we heard from kind of like the designing your life is like, be willing to experiment and be willing to fail. That learning that comes with that and that persistence that comes from kind of letting it all hang out, and it might not work, but the point isn't that it works every time. The point is that you keep going and you like, oh, that didn't work. Okay, let me try it again. Or, oh, that didn't work and it's not worth figuring it out.
Yep.
Those are like really powerful ideas that come out of this game. So
yeah, no, that concept that there are so many points in a game set match. When you're going through the whole thing, you don't need to win them all to win the game. That you have so many opportunities. I like how you're tying that back to life and to projects, that sometimes you need to show up and just do the best you can, but realize you may not win them all. And you have to decide which ones you're going to go all in on and which ones you need to say, you know what? Good on the other person. They did great.
Well, and even with winning, you didn't win every point and you failed in that win.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if there's ever been a professional tennis match where somebody won 6-0, 6-0, 6-0 and didn't lose a single point in any of the sets. And so winning is full of these little micro failures, possibly. That doesn't have to be something that holds you back. It can be part of the process.
Yeah.
And we've kind of talked about that. So but in this perspective, it really helps illuminate that for me and gives me a little more energy to be like, yeah, it's okay. If it doesn't work out, try again.
Yeah.
Thing, or like the brave little toaster or something like that.
Yeah. I think that's a good point, because you and I are both really bullish on making sure that we're taking opportunities when things don't go the way we want and learning from it. And I think the same happens with tennis too, where I remember when child one started playing and he was doing a few lessons, the person giving him lessons said, okay, so one thing he needs to have in his tennis bag is a notebook, so he can take notes about things that he needs to work on. Or if he's playing someone like an opponent, he can take notes on the player and the things that are going well and the things that he needs to be aware of. So that made me think of watching the women's final yesterday with the French Open. They kept saying, okay, so one player had the strongest forehand.
Yeah.
it was pretty amazing.
It was fierce.
It was fierce. It was amazing.
I wouldn't want that coming at me.
No, me either. But they kept saying, okay, so Coco needs to then hit it to her backhand.
Mhm.
And when I started keying into that, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what she's doing. She's learned from previous points, from watching other matches,
Yep.
that, yeah, I can hit it to the forehand, but I could also hit it to the backhand. And that's a really good strategy for me to have a better chance of winning those points. That learning piece, just to build on what you were talking about, I think is key.
Yeah, like that scouting report is what it makes me think of, is like doing your homework. So not only learning and doing all of that research, but then applying it is another step.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in the moment, sometimes that breaks down. But if you've done that work, you can kind of pull back and gain that perspective. And it brings up like the note taking and stuff. It also brings up how important writing and processing on the pages become.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing it up again because it's become invaluable for me to process outside of my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I might have even said that in the last couple podcasts, but
I think it's good if you did, because it's a good reminder.
Yeah. And so whether it's writing it down or talking it out with you or somebody else has been really helpful, because I know what I know. And so I don't necessarily process unless I have to get it out of my head with the written word or the spoken word. It just translates it
Mm-hmm.
and makes me a little more aware. And so that power of taking notes on your matches, taking notes on your opponents and what they did, and whether it was a win or a loss, becoming aware and having that historical data, maybe even like to speak your language, kind of
Sure.
your data background and stuff.
Yeah.
It's invaluable to have that stuff. So I like that.
Yeah.
I did ask Child One. I'm like, we got him his new bag.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm like, when you're changing things over, I'm like, do you have a notebook in your bag still? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I haven't really used it. I'm like, well, you should think about that. I'm trying to not be overbearing, but eventually it'll kick in. And, as he starts playing more matches that are probably a little more intense, possibly as his competition increases, as he develops and keeps doing better, it'll become more important, and I think it'll become more of his process. But it doesn't have to just be for sport.
Yeah. I mean, it can also be for projects of,
absolutely,
if you're tracking. I'm working on a project right now, and I've set up the structure, because part of it is really working on writing.
Just a writing project, right?
Yeah, it's a writing project. And so I have something that helps me keep an outline that I continue to update as I go through it, as well as kind of a word count log so I can enter in every single day that I write. How long did I write? What was my focus of the writing? How many words did I write? And it's kind of nice to have it all in one place. And as I go, I'll also be able to see some trends about what works well for me to write. How am I the most productive in this project? But right now, it's putting in those reps and simply showing up and documenting, and making sure that I know where I'm at, and take some time to document it.
Yeah. I have friends that do that. Like, one friend does an accountability Friday on LinkedIn, and he posts if like he hit his marks, but one of them was like his word count for the week.
Okay.
So that doing things in public sometimes, just like playing games in public.
Yeah.
Right? Like it adds like a little more, like you might show up a little stronger because you want to maybe impress somebody in the audience or whatever, but that's not quite what I mean by this. But
sure.
But I always liked the spectacle of performing like in an arena, like for hockey.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of electricity there. And so that reminds me of the power of sharing your process in public. And it might give you some content to be sharing that will help another person that's maybe working on their own project to see like, oh, Laura's doing this. Like, I should share what I'm doing too. And that kind of that virtuous cycle
Yeah.
will spin up. So you maybe try that.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
I think it would be helpful for other people that maybe aren't listening to us,
Right.
but maybe follow you online on one of your accounts, sharing that part of you in those different arenas could be helpful. But that's really cool that you're documenting and using that as a way to help propel you forward.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, me too.
I should try it.
You should. See if it works. Try it on for size.
Yeah.
Another thing I've been thinking about when we've been watching tennis is I really am fascinated watching the matches take place on clay courts. I mean, I played on a clay court probably once, not professionally or competition, but just more.
Way to clarify that.
Yeah, I just want everyone to be aware. No, but just like, we're probably, my guess is on a family vacation. There's a clay court. Wouldn't it be fun to see what it's like to play, hit a ball around? But when I'm watching folks at the highest level play on these courts, they're running and there's like a slide to it because
they know when to plant their foot so that they can keep sliding like another 4 feet.
Exactly. And
be in position to make a play on the ball.
Right. It's actually pretty thrilling to watch.
Yeah.
But it just makes me think of the different tops that, or the different, not finishes. What would you call it? The different surfaces that tennis can be played on, right? So you got the clay courts, then grass is slightly different. I played on that before, and that is different. And then
the hard surface,
the typical hard surface. I think I know I'm the most familiar with that. So knowing those differences, but also knowing kind of how thrilling and exciting it was to watch something that I'm used to watching, and I know what I expect to happen in a different context is pretty fun. It changes the game. Not fully, but just slightly. It shifts it.
So are you kind of trying to talk about, mixing it up, trying different things, or how different conditions can, create different outcomes, or, that feels like what you're kind of trying to direct towards me is like, hey, that might be different and new, but you should maybe try it. You never know what could happen. I feel like it's directed at me.
How did that feel? How did it land, Keith?
Well, I agree. I mean, I read between the lines, but I was just like, oh yeah, that's right. Like part of the fun is trying some different varieties of things, or, I'm going to try writing poetry this week, or I'm going to write prose or nonfiction. Like, that's like where my head goes. It's like, oh, that's right. Don't have to just stick to one thing. Sometimes it's nice to branch out. But also how we were talking about, when circumstances change, you need to be adaptable. I mean, sometimes you're not enrolling in those changes. They know they're playing on clay.
Right.
But in life, the conditions can change before you're aware even. And then you're kind of like, oh, what do I do? How do I pivot?
Even like the final women's singles match, we were watching the wind. They had the roof open.
Yeah.
And so the wind, weren't they saying it was like 30 miles an hour?
Gusts of wind, yeah.
And the number of times they had to throw the ball up in the air for their serves, and they're just like...
It was like watching one of our kids' games.
Yeah, when it's super windy.
Where they're like, they're still working on their toss, But it's it's very windy around here where we live almost all the time. So kind of used to it.
It's true. But so sometimes, like you said, you don't anticipate the changes, and other times you know full well what you're going into.
Yeah, it's, sometimes you choose to try something new, or going in what you're enrolling in. But for a lot of us, sometimes things happen to us.
Right.
And that's not the posture I'm seeking lately, but I do know that I'm still a little hesitant to new things. So the idea of choosing to play on a different surface or in a different arena, that agency of the choice and deciding to do it is just more empowering to me, and this little metaphor that we're talking about. So I like it. I like that you brought that up.
Yeah. Well, it makes me wonder with our project with the podcast, the different things. So we've recorded in the closet, Green Bay.
Yep.
We tried to record over Zoom once.
Yeah,
it didn't quite work.
No, the sound was horrible somehow. In my attempt to, I think, have good sound and backup Zoom sound, something was feeding back or something, but it was like, I'm like, I don't know if I can save this. And then it turned into like, well, I can't figure out how to save it now, so we have to just record another one the way I know. And then it's like in some file somewhere. I don't even know where, but it would take me a while to find it.
Yeah.
Someday we'll release it.
There we go.
It'll probably sound like we're in a cave or a cavern or something. Yeah. Did not sound good.
No. Then we tried to video record while we recorded once.
Yeah. Those are probably in the same file of maybe never release this. Yeah. I don't even know.
But it makes me wonder, because I know you and I have both said, gosh, we really would like to get some like video content, because I mean, you know me, when I'm on Instagram and different things like that, even LinkedIn now, they have more and more videos. Like, oh, I would like to watch this. And there's something about stopping on just a short segment video that really is, I don't know, it catches my attention.
I enjoy the medium.
Me too.
I enjoy YouTube content, that I choose, and we like watching shows and movies, and so, and I think it's a good way to reach the people like us, that's how we find a lot of our information or learn things. So it's worth looking into again.
Yeah, might be a good thing to explore.
Yeah.
And I mean, the great thing about it won't be, if we were to go and try it again, it won't be the first clay court we were on.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, we tried it, and that's how I'm trying to approach more new things. Is, well, like, it's kind of like your voice in my head, because it's probably your words. It's like, well, just try it, because then you're done with the first try, and then you can do it again. Yeah. And again, and if it doesn't work, who cares? Try it again. And I'm like, oh, that's like a Laura thing. like she's really smart.
Aw.
I'll listen to it now that I read it in a book, though. That thing that we do to each other.
Right.
Well, you said it, but I wasn't really listening. But my friend said it, or
I read it in a book, and you're like, I just said that.
Or Mel Robbins said it in this podcast. I'm like, I think I said that to you like 20 times.
I even have the podcast published to show you.
Yeah.
Any other things or lessons that you've picked up on in tennis that kind of stand out to you?
One thing that pops in my head is the longevity that can come with the game. Not necessarily at a professional level, but I can foresee myself playing this game for many years to come, at a decent intensity, or at an enjoyable rate.
Yeah.
And it's becoming one of the things that I write down when I'm designing my week and thinking about, what am I going to do for movement? It's usually one of the top things I think about, is like, I can always go to the court and practice my serve, try to work on my forehand if I'm alone, but I usually end up sending the balls over the fence because I don't have the technique down yet. Some reason it's easier when I'm hitting it over towards somebody else. I like that it's like an approachable activity.
Yeah.
And whether pickleball is a part of that or whatnot, have never played that still. I feel like we did some version of that in high school.
I played pickleball in high school.
I don't know if I don't even remember them calling it that, but I was probably just spaced out and like wondering, like, when are we going to get to play floor hockey again? because that was always my favorite, and we only got to do it like once a year. But yeah, it just seems like one of those things that you can do and enjoy for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Or over a long period of time.
Yeah. I think you're right on that. And I'm not going to lie, because I definitely remember what it felt like to play tennis when I was a high school student and a college student.
Oh, I bet.
And
is it a little different now?
Very different. What did I say? I said to you, the things I need to work on the most are my stamina and just practicing my hits, my serves, get against the board, volleys, things like that. But if I could get to the ball faster, it'd be better. I'm just not used to doing that because I really haven't played for 20 years.
Oh, I'm not used to it either. And I'm feeling it because we played the other night.
Yeah.
Or afternoon. And I can feel it. Like nothing bad, but I'm like, oh, I can feel it in my right ankle. And that's the one that I messed up when I was young.
Yeah.
And so I just know I just need to just keep moving it and putting it under a little bit of load and just, taking care of it and doing all the things that you need to do. But yeah, I know so little about the game that I think I'm going to make some pretty good improvements once I can practice more.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely don't have the movement that I used to have. And it's a different kind of movement that I've never done because I was on skates all the time. And if I wasn't on skates, it was simply running.
Yeah.
And this is a lot different movement. It's side to side. It's front to back. It's twisting and turning, and I can feel it in my ribs. Mm-hmm. Like I reached for a ball, and I'm like, I think I yelled out loud. I'm like, I'm going to feel that tomorrow.
Oh no.
I don't. So I think I hydrated enough and I think I stretched enough, but the next day maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. But I do think as we go, if we listen to our bodies and we take it at the pace that our bodies can take it right now and work into it, I do think you and I could play tennis against each other for a long time.
Yeah.
Which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. And I mean, it's been like a couple of years since you brought that up to me once. Before Child One even decided to play, I think.
Yeah.
And I was probably like, well, I don't know.
About wanting to play tennis with you?
Yeah, like, because I never had.
Yeah.
Like,
you have good hand-eye coordination, though.
I have okay hand-eye coordination.
That's pretty good.
Okay. So it's fun. It's so much fun. Like, I'm surprised at how much fun I'm having being on the court, and he beats me all the time.
He beat me too.
But I'm competitive enough where I can't wait until I beat him, and I think I will. And I only have a small window. I think I have maybe 6 or 7 months in which I can maybe beat him at a set. I'm just saying a set. Like, I'm going to get lucky and
win
a set, and then he'll sweep me in the next 2. Maybe like if I play him after, like I'll play him in like a pro set after he plays like 3 other people, that I might beat him,
Yeah.
We'll see. Like I kind of got that fight in me where I got that competitiveness, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. The piece I've always liked about tennis, you really can play at the level that you put in the work for. And so Child One had his end of the year tennis banquet, and his coach was really giving a pep talk to all of the players because they graduated like 8 seniors or something like that.
Yeah.
And so she was giving examples of, this is what this player did. Yeah. So-and-so was out of the courts at 6 a.m. hitting against the wall, or I would drive up to the court and so-and-so was out there with a bucket of balls serving, or on the ball machine. And you could tell she was trying to inspire the up and coming kids to really get out there and take ownership over their own skill development.
Yeah. And if you put in the work, you're going to see the results. Like so-and-so, they did this over this last summer and look, they were playing this position.
Yeah.
Or, get in the weight room or do some strength training over the off season. And, you're going to reap the rewards that you sow.
Exactly.
And she sees it because she's always at the courts.
She is.
So she'll see you if you're doing it. And that means something.
Well, and honestly, I mean, I forgot the fire I had, which is weird to say I forgot it, because tennis growing up was such a big part of who I was and what I did. I wasn't the best person on the team, but I was out there every summer. I was there with a hopper of balls, and I would just sit there and I would serve, pick them up and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
At my parents' house, I used to hit the tennis ball against their garage over and over. So there were so many little dusty tennis ball marks on their wooden garage doors. And they had a roof over their garages that was great. You could pop it up on the little roof and it would come and it would just come down and just pop down. And so you could hit it against there again or do a little lob on the roof. So I practiced so much tennis, either against the wall, against my parents' garage and the roof, or serving, that it was just something that I could see my skill level improve and improve and improve. It's one of those where I want to do more of that. I almost got up today. I was like, okay, I might go get that hopper of balls. I might go in and serve. And I didn't quite get there. I was moving a little slow. But but still, it's fun to have something that you're excited about and passionate about, and you believe that you can improve and get better in and enjoy. I really felt like that was tennis for me growing up, and I kind of forgot about it for whatever reason. Life just got busy, but it's starting to come back a little bit. There's a little bit of a flame there. It never fully went out, but it's kind of coming back.
We're fanning the flame.
Yeah.
And it's a good activity for that playfulness and that competitiveness.
Absolutely. I want to try and beat him too. We'll see. I don't know if I will.
I lost 3-6.
Did you?
Yeah.
I lost 2-6, but
Boom.
I think he was taking it easy on me. That's the problem.
I also played second. So you might have worn him down a little bit.
I hope so. I hope so. I think what we should do is we should end with a quote.
Okay. You have a quote?
Yes, I think. I was reminded of it at the end of the year banquet, and it fits in with our theme on tennis. So the quote is from Billie Jean King and is, "Pressure is a privilege. It only comes to those who earn it." I really like that because it does push you to work hard and know that when you're in a position that you're feeling that pressure, that you worked hard to be put in that position, and it's a privilege to be in that position to experience that because of your hard work. So it just makes me pretty excited. Let's get after it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
We have her autobiography also on
we?
Audible. I got
Ooh.
it before that came up at the banquet, and I was like, I have her autobiography. I'm so excited to listen to it.
Billie Jean King's a legend.
Yeah, she is. I love it. Let's get out of here.
This sounds good.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.